there's something happening in this market right now that you as a seller need to be aware of. Frankly, you as a buyer need to be aware of too. This goes both ways. And I'm going to get a little technical for just a moment, but the South Carolina real estate contract is a very buyer-friendly contract. And I don't have time to go into all the reasons why, but there is one very important part of the contract that allows you, the buyer, the ability to, I call it a get-out-of-jail-free card, right? If you put something under contract and let's say that you get a home inspection and you don't like what happens in the form of negotiation between you and the seller, you can back out. You can get your earnest money back. You can renegotiate that deal for whatever new price you see fit. And if the seller doesn't take it, you can back out. You could literally wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I've decided that I don't like this house. I'm done. And you can get your earnest money back. It's called a due diligence period. And the way the due diligence period is written into this contract is that you have a predetermined amount of time to perform any sort of inspection you want to, do. You can renegotiate, which means you can either ask the seller to make repairs, you can have them reduce their price, you can have them throw in all their furniture. I mean, whatever you want. You can renegotiate anything in the contract. And of course, you can proceed under an amended contract, once you reach an agreement, or you can just get out of the deal for whatever reason you want. And what happens more often than not when these offers are made that contain a due diligence period is that usually there is a termination fee that comes with the due diligence period, meaning, hey, if you're going to give me the ability to get out of this deal for whatever reason I want within the first, call it 10 business days, then in return for that right, I'm going to guarantee you a certain amount of my earnest money. Here's $1,000 or something to make it worth your while as a seller, because any seller that takes an offer with a due diligence period, yes, they have a contract on their house, but for that amount of time in that due diligence period, that buyer can just walk for whatever reason they want. They do not have to justify it. So we try not to use due diligence periods when we represent sellers. Of course, when we represent buyers, of course we do, right? We want what's best for our clients. But I'll tell you that there's another portion of that contract that's just called repair procedure that just says that, hey, all you can do is a home inspection. And if there's nothing, in other words, if you find things that are wrong with the major components of the house, the roof, the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, major mechanicals, structural, environmental concerns, if I agree to make those major repairs, you have to buy it. You have to move forward. I'm not required to address things like home maintenance related items or energy efficient related items. I do not have to bring the house up to code. I'm not addressing anything cosmetically. That's what we want to use when we represent sellers. But I'm telling you, there are so many people that just want to get the deal on paper and get an agreed upon deal that they completely miss it. They could fight for a cleaner version of the contract repair procedure, but most agents I'm just telling you, they just want to get that deal in writing. They want to get the buyer and seller to agree, and then, hey, we'll figure it out as we go, is kind of their approach. This is where, again, having an experienced agent is incredibly important, whether you're a buyer or a seller or an investor. So just do yourself a favor, and this is the most important thing that I can say to you today. Interview your agent. Don't just assume they know what they're doing. Ask them some tough questions. If you want a list of questions, I'm happy to provide that to you. Just text the word questions to 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009. Or you can just go online, check us out. We've got great resources there. Listingsincharleston.com. But please, please, please interview your agent. Interview multiple agents. Choose the best one. And if I can help you, feel free to give us a buzz. 843-400-8009. Thanks a lot for listening, folks, and enjoy your weekend. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10.